Hello, and welcome back to my channel. This is Northstar. Hope you've been taking care of each other and being kind to yourselves. I'm tired. I've done, I think, like 2.5 hours, 2 hours 15 minutes of streaming before, then post office and supermarket, leaving me even more exhausted. This is gonna give me a headache. I'm trying to be productive, but even with a lot of lying down and breaks and snacking, and this is really pushing up my long COVID. It's pretty much reaching the level of exhaustion people say with the hamburger hour, where like if you've been pulling all nighters, you reach the point where the word hamburger becomes funny and then you know you're tired. Yeah, just after that. I absolutely am too sick of my long COVID to work, but the government is filing my social security case in bad faith, so trying to build my channel here. Anyways, so I'm here with Syria, fragmented world. Doesn't stop a number of wars going on, such as the Central Powers here attacking Czechoslovakia. I'm not sure if Hungary is at war with anyone. Nope. Not yet. In Switzerland. Is France in a war? Looks to be. Looks like England guaranteed Czechoslovakia. So France and England are now also at war with the Central Powers. That might go poorly for them. Didn't realize that gotten so big. Besides having a much bigger navy on this side, they have actually more manpower, more divisions, more manpower, more industry, maybe. Yeah, more industry. They're shafted. They'll lose eventually. Well, so I won't have to worry about Turkey being a real threat to me for long. It will be Iraq, which I need to start thinking about how to redeploy my divisions to defend against. Division design. I added support artillery to the 3 infantry battalion, but the 10, well, I might actually end up enlarging it to 6, and then it's probably going to be line artillery, and somebody like, well, support's more efficient. Well, that's true. I'm probably going to put support rocket artillery with this as well, so it's me both types of support. But with the 10, it's eventually going to have Rangers, buff line artillery. It's going to have support anti-air for certain. All those expensive artillery pieces that can't be destroyed by CAS. The anti-air will somewhat reduce the effect of that. It might also be a line anti-air as well in there, but anti-air Rangers with all that expensive equipment, a maintenance company becomes worthwhile to reduce equipment losses. And then with all the manpower in artillery and support companies, which both have poor HP to manpower ratios, a field hospital eventually becomes worthwhile. People sit there and say, oh, field hospitals are bad, but they never look at the combinatorial effects. Occasionally my brain still remembers a good word, even though I have memory issues, the long COVID. So you get these stupid matchups. Oh, well, you put this division against this division. And one, they always do it in ideal supply areas, which is stupid because the balance changes when you fight in areas where you need logistics companies, which are much cheaper than adding supply hubs. You add logistics companies, the maintenance companies become more worthwhile because logistics companies are somewhat expensive. If you have maintenance, then adding more artillery becomes more cost effective because you're not going to lose as much artillery because recovery whenever you win a battle with the maintenance company. Suddenly you've got maintenance and you've got logistics, and then field hospitals look more worthwhile because those companies have terrible HP to manpower ratios. For instance, 1 HP, 500 manpower. Rangers are basically a type of recon, 2 HP to 500 manpower. Use recon to buff artillery, maintenance because you have the artillery there and the recon. Then hospitals because of the poor manpower ratios. Logistics because with all this you're probably gonna, they synergize. Just one of these types not great on its own. And of course people are always using big division stuff, which they shouldn't. Smaller divisions get you more work in total. When defending anyways, when you're attacking, what they do is they just battle plan against each other. If you're attacking, you want large divisions, but smart strategy is to use defensive divisions in large parts of your line and just have a few spearheads that use offensive divisions and fast ones to fill in. Anyways. Let's see, other things. Cavalry actually have more HP per manpower than infantry. So it could actually be eventually worth adding camels to reduce manpower losses. I don't think they entrench as well. Let's see. Entrenchment. Well, there's no particular entrenchment buff to this anyways. So, is there a reason not to use camels other than the 30 defense, 10.9 soft attack is what they would add. Versus another infantry. Same. Okay, a little less defense. 4.5 breakthrough. 4.2. So they have less defense and breakthrough. Yeah. You're using small divisions to try and get more work. You probably want infantry. If you start getting bigger and you're starting to be more concerned about manpower losses, especially when you start getting more artillery in, camels could have a role. Of course, it takes a lot of army XP to mix camels in with infantry, so probably a niche thing. More useful is probably camel divisions that are just pure camel divisions that fight alongside the infantry and artillery, and some of the hits will be directed at them. They'll suffer very little manpower loss to, supplement your other stuff. Anyways, got 2 4 width, so I got 4 infantry battalions to add somewhere. Even against Iraq, I still probably want to defend the server line, but I need to defend these deserts as well. I'm going to figure these guys probably have their... Well, no, the Hatay issue could still happen anytime. I really... As much as I want to pull... let's see. Clear. Is there anywhere that's hot? Probably not this time of year, so then I'll just put them where... Yeah, there. 6, 6, and 8. I'd probably do another 8. Since eventually... Yep. Oh. By the way, with all this artillery and support in these relatively small... With a relatively small number of infantry, these divisions don't have very low org individually, but because there's so many of them, decent staying power. Of course, some will de-org before others, but that's fine. They de-org out, they recover, they come back. Whereas if you put all your eggs in one basket, one division, eventually when it de-orgs, you have a hole in your line, you do this kind of cycling thing, and you can technically, if you have enough divisions, hold the line indefinitely. That's proper use of combat reserves. Anyhow, so these two, I'm just going to turn to 8 width and merge. So 2 8 width, 2 6 width. Wait, why did the 8 width? They're not reserved at all. I need a reserve 8 width. Add that. All we use is basic infantry equipment, and that these guys should be actually. Till they're fully trained. Not use up the better equipment in training. Alright. So I'm working collectivist ethos, internationalism, political correctness, indoctrination, which gives me stability and weekly manpower. Division recovery bonus and commissars, and then this 10% attack defense on core territory. With this 5% less stability and war support, but the core territory attack and defense actually goes a long way towards helping me stamp to a superior power like Iraq here. What is the size of their military out of curiosity? I don't have much intel, but much bigger than mine. Yep. Probably even have an air force. It's not very big in grand scheme of things, but yeah, tiny little air force. Manpower yet, but all right, I've got war economy. Use this for training artillery crews. Well, just actually use basic infantry equipment, train them up fully without the artillery. If I can sell it, I'll sell it. I need a long time to build up before I can have any chance of taking on Iraq. Part of the reason I'm doing the infrastructure in Aleppo is to add regional industrial integration, another build slot. Earlier I got the, military factors, and that allowed me to, start getting equipment, but as I get more and more short on resources, well, the infrastructure is better because getting it done sooner saves some costs if I'm going to build it sooner or later for the build slot. And because I have resource surges, I'm not missing that much equipment by doing this. Those early factories were not so resource short. So, people in these calculations assume one factory is equivalent to another, and it usually is, but not if you're operating under severe resource constraints. And I'm not buying resources partly because I'm not yet producing the stuff that I'm going to be using for the most part, so there's a limited capability I have to sell stuff. It's getting the point where, see, this averages to minus 65, which means it'd be a spread. 7.5. One of these is factors is like 72.5% production decrease because of lack of resources. Of course, it's not all equivalent. For instance, 3 steel here each, and this is minus 22.05. If I move this here, be minus 15. It's the same amount of resources, but because it's split between steel and tungsten, and basically each, like, being minus 2 and 2 resources isn't as bad as being minus 4 and 1. So that's part of the reason I'm going to be shifting from steel to tungsten. And since the likely... yeah, it doesn't hurt to make a non-aggression pact with them. Or them. Or them. It's mostly for like trade relations. Boom. Efficient production, no improvement towards efficiency can be ignored. We must make sure we do most of what we have or risk being outproduced. Right. Seems to be a communist Norway thing. I don't think I've seen that before. Soviet Portugal. Done an aggression pact with Iraq earlier, but it would have been meaningless by the time they were likely to attack me. It would have just done it anyways, and what they would have affected is maybe market access. I don't want to be trading them stuff, and I don't want to be upsetting by refusing to trade them stuff. So, like, if they kept trying to buy stuff, and I kept refusing if I remembered to do so, yeah, it could be bad. Cool. Could create enough of a diplomatic penalty to be far worse than the benefit of the non-aggression pact. Alright. But yeah. Iraq can cut me off any resource trade to the east. And that's not the worst. The real danger would probably be Iran pouring into Iraq and moving north. But yeah, I'll probably start importing steel. Some steel, at least one. Possibly 2, but then I'm going to increase my steel demands with, producing better rifles. And eventually some ships. Yeah, I don't have that many factories available to import stuff. 83% or 16% of. Shouldn't this be just one factory? think it rounded down normally. Huh. When the anti-democratic raids are over, it'll probably be. Still, importing 2 steel, and that would only leave me with 2 factories, and I'll need to construct some forts and stuff, plus eventually I'll probably convert one of the factories to a mill, and I'll need one for repairing any damage, infrastructure and stuff. Expanding rails as I expand, etc. Eventually I'll need some civilian for Sampan Intelligence Agency, which takes 5 zip. And so actually I might keep what I got for that. I'll be building just mill, so I can build slots from now on probably. So yeah, I'm gonna have real resource constraints. Which is why some of my artillery production will actually be rocket artillery. To get around that a little. I do it for time, 12 minutes. Probably gonna cut this soon. I might try and do a Hearthstone video, and then just energy's gonna be flatlined at that point. So I need try and eat a ham steak that might have gone bad by now. I'm a little iffy about it. Smell it carefully, taste it carefully. If it smells or tastes off, then no. Manchuria has decided to declare war on China. Which gives Communist China a fighting chance. Belgium and the Dutch are fighting. Norwegian Chinese war. Where is the one that's got? Let's see the war that China's. I mean, that the Qing are in. Yeah. Oh, Qing China. They're showing up in this one. Since they're the factories and such. Oh, they'll probably lose to China. That might actually. We'll see how it goes. This guy. Probably neutral though in this, because none of the imperialism colonization, so they're not a Japanese puppet here. In this alt history. Next month we can add another support artillery. I'll have the manpower for it. 41 artillery pieces built up already. Alright. Improved artillery upgrade. Can now start on rocket artillery. Rockets garbage on planes, but decent on the ground. So another way to upgrade the artillery. MIO. This instruction 3. Of course, been hard in trying to take away from rapid assault rifles. Get collectivist ethos, internationalism. 3. Still some construction left to do after all. Yeah, and that adds build slots there. Also adds one here. I got the infrastructure here, so I should probably get this done right away. Research shortage is even worse, but disappearance of the Anglian royal family. As yet another week has passed since the last public appearance of any member of the Anglian royal family. Rumors abound about their likely fate. The government has refused to comment on the matter entirely and has begun cracking down on any media reports that would bring attention to the issue. The government's silence is only more noticeable in light of anonymous accounts by certain individuals who claim to have been members of the royal family's household speak of seeing the royal family be forcibly removed from Buckingham Palace by masked men some weeks ago. They got their due, is what you hear as a communist nation. It's worth noting not all communist countries that had monarchies did that kind of thing. For instance, what was it? I'm trying to remember. Some Asian country had an emperor or monarch or something, and he was basically turned into like a factory worker, like everyone else, you know, and re-educated and made to realize he's not special or blessed by fate or whatever. He's just, you know, another person who was lucky in circumstances of his birth. So you don't have to disappear people, to say the least. Let's see. These guys are still training. They have what? Make this just as well defended as this, and could be attacked from an area that it's Marak that's overland, so have the artillery for it, so boom. Yeah, these guys weren't training. Yeah, they should be. No. Ideology knows no borders. Another nation may call itself sovereign, but our convictions are above such claims. Right? As I've said before, the devs of this game demonize communism. To freedom being for the mine laying. It also enables underway replenishment if I ever build a research thing. Unlikely, but yeah. Yeah, I'm unlikely to actually engage any serious rival, but laying some mines in the Eastern Mediterranean Sea might, if I'm lucky, sink or damage an enemy ship. Damaging it, of course, has dockers that have to repair the ship, and then they're not busy building new ones, so it does sort of enable build up a little. After a very long time, that might be possible. Build up enough of a fleet to safely do some skirmishes with destroyers. Still asymmetric types, you know, hit and run stuff, or lone wolf admirals. At least the ratio of losses not being too strong against me. At least, I mean, hopefully, and use it as a way to try and train up some decent admirals while I still continue to build my fleet. Thinking very long term here. Oh, I definitely need to train another. General. I don't have any that I really want to pull one from. Oh, what am I saying? Actually, I need to is promote some more field marshals. Or assign traits. All this time this guy doesn't have defensive doctrine. Since this whole thing is... I swear I did that. Probably rolled back to before I saved that or something. Counterattack, by the way, you can only do when you have a skill advantage. So this isn't actually very useful until he skills up. Yielding defender. Let's open that up. You need to have a higher skill than that. I mean, if you would say level 2 and use facing level 1 general, for instance, you could do it. This, on the other hand, defensive doctrine allows you to use elastic defense at skills 1 and 2, where normally you have to be at least skill 3 for it. So that's its main benefit for a general. Anyways, this is a field marshal who allows deep entrenchment. A lot of generals, a lot of just total garbage. Trickster does have some value for field marshal of a force, in that it gets cut in half, provides some recon benefit, if I'm not mistaken, to the generals. Still, mainly what I need is inflexible strategist. Plus, even if I was wrong about that, they'll gain experience, and then sometimes they can later be rotated to acting as generals proper. I need someone else who's got more skill as a general, then rotates to be the field marshal. So, this is one of my most promising guys. Commando is really kind of garbage, but the camouflage expert, shouldn't forget. That's actually pretty good. And when you promote someone to field marshal, they get an additional trait. So, reduce the effectiveness of Iraqi casts, or Anil and defender for when he skills up, or defensive doctrine. I don't know. Probably figure it out if and when. For now, spend all the command power. And store it up. Giving some promotions and a trait. Allows these guys to dig in more deeply. Advantage of mass mobilization is you get some entrenchment from defense and death. If you go mobile warfare, it's all about rapid attacks. Maneuver requires oil to work effectively. Lots of oil. Go this path, you're not getting bonuses except for garrison stuff. Planning speed. It's about maneuvering the enemy. Kind of depends at what point I do the swap. Once I get my hands on some Iraqi oil, to shoot all the oil resource rights to the British. The way to get it, I think, is to do resource rights on it myself. No, actually, I think it just duplicates the oil. But after war, by instead of taking the states, I think you have to puppet. You can't force ideology, but let's say I could do a Syrian puppet here, British puppet here, and just Iraqi puppet here, and get resource rights in each. Like force ideology, probably here because it's matching ideology more resources, and just leave a rump state as one underpopulated wasteland tile of Jara. But yep, I mean I could never beat the Central Powers. The fact that the British and the French and who else was against them? Well, the Czechs and the Swiss as well. Will beat them up for me means that I don't really have to worry about Turkey. I can focus on Iraq soon enough once. Really? Portugal declared war on, wait, Greater Portugal. I thought Soviet Portugal controlled this. The fascists have declared on non-aligned. Interesting. Non-aligned has a river. Well, they have a river between them, so it's possible this could go a while, and the non-aligned faction might even build some build slots, which would be nice. It's even. It doesn't look like either side has any division, so it's whoever deploys a division first. The fascists have the vast majority of the industry, apparently. So, yeah. Don't. They sit staring at each other at divisions, which... oh. The fascists... Well, no, they've both got some recruitable population now. But neither of them has any... It's only the Soviet areas that have completely run out of manpower. So yeah, just to see who wins, it basically who gets the first division up. Won't matter. The fascists have more industry if they have no divisions, and not aligned get a division out first. For instance, they could easily win. Probably be the fascists though. Belarusians want to buy stuff. Cool. No military access with them. Nor with Soviet Lithuania. Oh, I could join this faction if I wanted. That would be a terrible idea, since it would put me squarely at war with my northern neighbors. I know the Norwegians are not fighting them, they're fighting Sweden and China, right? Still, you have to capitulate the majors in a faction, so as I took for faction leadership, would end up losing a war without even being involved. I mean, I'll sell them guns, but joining a war, bad idea. At least for now. Could in theory create a faction with the Soviets. So, they're at peace. Or no, well, they're in a civil war, but let's have the national spirit for it. Keep an eye on all that. Negotiating licenses, I don't know if that'll... I've never seen the AI actually try and license anything they have, though. Probably useless. Probably. Given my very poor research capabilities, though I might need to license stuff at times. Occasionally something involves a secret project. You get unique bonuses where I might be able to license a version of something that's better than anything I could ever produce. Expensive to do that though, just for a tiny bonus. Hungary joined the Central Powers. Oh no. That connects things up by land. And might shift the balance. Austria, Hungary, Romania. Okay, the fascists must have gotten division up already, so... When Portugal no longer exists. Portugal is one. Gone fascist. End up doing the Fifth Empire quite possibly, and everyone will hate them though. So. That'll be amusing. They'll definitely bite off more than they can chew sooner or later. Heck, even Soviet Portugal probably for lunch sooner or later. Once they industrialize. Get their spirits to get more manpower, and for that matter, they have to go to war economy. Since they have focused probably a lot more built slots to add. And probably eventually catch up and be already challenged the Greater Portugal, and that's before you count their allies, you know. The Trotskyite Soviet Union. Which might be hanging on if they're receiving Lend-Lease, maybe? Tension's almost high enough. Spain is giving them Lend-Lease, yep. Support equipment, rifles, trucks. World tension rate's 50%. Other communist powers now who aren't puppets can do it. So pretty soon, yeah, Trotsky might actually get Lend-Lease and be able to win his war just because he has the equipment. Then, assuming he has any recruitable population left. Doesn't look like it. Looks like he's all out unless he raises his conscription law. Archangel isn't that many people. I mean, 615,000 for the entire state. Improve working conditions. Probably do another series of anti-democratic raids too, though. Surrogates factories. It's 2 factories regardless. That's right, factory output. Do it. After our nationals and focus, I'll take a quick break from running focuses just to get those raids. Maybe. Maybe not. Very close to max base stability. Yeah, I'm gonna reach max base stability, just improving working conditions. I don't need another set of raids. I mean, could have done multiple series of raids to get the same base stability, but it costs a lot more product power than I need product power for other things, so... Improve working conditions while doesn't have another smooth factory, I don't think. Instead of later, sooner or later I'll need it here. Alright. Political correctness. People holding mildly controversial or otherwise embarrassing opinions appear to be concerned there is a wide-reaching conspiracy against them. It seems like an excellent idea. Nonsense. This is, again, demonizing socialism. Duchy of Silesia, for some reason, got involved in all this. They joined the Central Powers. Oh. So Central Powers are getting to be a real monster. Probably threaten Poland eventually. I'm sure at least one of these countries will create a war goal on them. Pushing the former Yugoslavia and what's left of. Somehow they got Albania? Austrian Albania. Alright, last guy with that. Flexible strategists are all field marshals. So we swapped around different specialties, and you know, if one doesn't roll better traits, I just insert another if one gets injured, etc. Want to keep getting more generals very soon, though. Bulgarian government supports the IMRO. Earlier today, the Bulgarian leader, Boris III, publicly announced the government will seek to negotiate with Ivan Malinov, one of the most important chiefs of the Internal Macedonian Revolution Organization, the cessation of hostilities between the IMRO and the Bulgarian authorities. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to read all that, but I think that lets them, since they actually already control some of the necessary territories, only one that they might need besides is Macedonia. Get more compliance or something in these states. I forget exactly what it does. A lot of nations get annoyed by it, but it unlocks the support Macedonian Revolution Organization's decisions. Alright, infantry equipment 3. Assault rifles. Done. Did support weapons 3. Since, yeah, that'll enable another trait here. Some automatic rifles. So apparently assault rifles aren't semi-automatic yet. Boom. Must be a whole mess with it. Checking that box for reserves. Templates. individual sub boxes aren't checked, so really it's just a pain for seeing what's what at a glance, not any actual gameplay impact. Anyways, the equipped divisions will be getting the assault rifles, and I can sell off the weapons too, which aren't outdated for most nations, so you should have no problem selling those. Like the weapons 1. We aren't selling so well because they're outdated in many cases. Sell these two. Need to have as much industry developed as possible, and I'll probably need forts to even hope to defeat Iraq. Alright, can do a special forces doctrine. Probably should with my land experience, since don't want to develop this more for a swap off of it. Manage supply use, special forces attack and organization, and enables rangers. Max speed plus 0.6 kilometers an hour? That's gotta be a typo or increases it by that. Oh, they require support equipment before you can actually build them anyways. Or maybe they require recon 1. Not sure. Still, that buffs the mountaineers a little bit. No, not gonna be doing anti-democratic raids. I should probably leave those like so if I see if the support starts shooting up later for some weird reason. But no, it's not likely. It's gotta be decent for defense. And might be even camouflage expert if I don't give the other guy. Plenty of rifles eventually. Always so much manpower. It's hard to get enough artillery though. Do another separate production line so that if I need to switch just one factory to something else besides the artillery, be the one with the least built up efficiency and huge lack resource penalties. Factories are working next to no steel now. Longer wait, the more production efficiency I've built up and the more useful the steel the import will be. Wait too much longer. While this civil war goes on, they're probably both running industrial focuses sooner or later. Some of which add building slots. Surprised they haven't done the lift. So haven't done expand the aircraft industry because that would, you know, get them some mill factories. They have none. It will make whoever wins more industry than without this prolonged civil war. Not good in a normal game because there'd be rivals to take advantage of it, but here, once again, they're in the Soviet Union for a very long time. So trains up generals. Still, it'd be better if Trotsky won for them because in spread he gets decisions, generic decisions to target neighboring European states. So a lot of these like little microstates he can split communist, whereas Stalin would just ignore a lot of them. Like, I don't know if Ukraine counts as European or if it starts like with Poland and Moldova. Certainly the little German states. Buy my stuff, people. AIs. I'm not doing much here. It's the way that I don't just collapse with exhaustion, but I am still way too tired. I'm missing stuff. At least some of the time. Norway do that drove a full threat. I don't know. Oh, this is a good time as any to save to end this. So I hope we'll do it on the 4th of July for symbolic value. I don't know. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Take care of each other. Be kind to yourselves, and may you always find a guiding star to lead you home. Until next time, it's Northstar. Do. Best luck to you all.